Okay, so these are our notes on coordinate geometry. So we have revision of the junior cert done, equations are done, dividing a line segment is done, and then just before we finished off we did the area of a triangle. So in this video I'm going to do these two things here: perpendicular distance from a point to a line and angle of inclination. Okay, so these are the two things that we're going to do in this video. Okay, so the perpendicular distance from a point to a line is this formula here, and this formula is in the log tables. Okay, so what this formula does is, if we have a look at this question here, it says find the distance from 3, 1 to the line 4x plus 3y plus 10 is equal to 0. So what this does here is it finds not just any distance, it finds the perpendicular distance from this point to this line. So what that would look like in a diagram, it would be, there's our line, and that is the line 4x plus 3y plus 10 is equal to 0. And then our point might be up here, that's the point 3, 1. And the distance that this formula will calculate is this distance here, the perpendicular distance from this line to that point. Okay, and all you have to do is fill in this formula here. Okay, so the way you do it is, what I would do first of all is I'd write down my line. So our line is 4x plus 3y plus 10 is equal to 0. And we know that that is always in the format of ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. And then our point is 3, 1, and we know that our point is always labelled as x1, y1. Okay, so if you look at our formula now, all right, up here, we actually see that we have everything. So A is going to be 4, B is going to be 3, C is going to be 10, all right, and then our x1 and our y1 is going to be 3 and 1. So we just fill everything into the formula. All right, and then that will give us our answer. So to fill everything into the formula, it's going to be the distance is equal to A, which is my 4, by x1, which is my 3, plus B, which is 3, multiplied by y1, which is 1, plus C at the end, which is 10, all over. And if you look at our formula, it is a squared plus b squared, the square root of those, so that is going to be 4 squared plus 3 squared. And then you just calculate out this, and that will give you our answer. So all of that there, that's going to give us 12 plus 3 plus 10 all over the square root of 16 plus 9. That's going to give us 25 all over 5, which is equal to 5. And then we know what these symbols here mean. This is the absolute value. So if that was a negative number, we would just ignore that, and it would just change to a positive number. So now we know up here in our diagram, now we know that the perpendicular distance between this line and that point is 5. So the distance there is 5. Okay, the next question that I'm going to get you to try, and I will put up the solution to this on Google Classroom, is this one here. So I want you to find the equation of the two lines that are parallel to the line x minus 2y is equal to 5, and a distance of 3 root 5 from it. Okay, so this is a typical higher level maths question that you would get. What I might do just to help you a little bit is to draw a diagram. Okay, so if this is our line here, so that is our line x minus 2y is equal to 5. So that's our line there. What do we want to do? We want to find the equation of two other lines that are parallel to this line here and a distance of 3 root 5 from this line. So the way we would do this is parallel lines. So there could be one there, and obviously there could be one there. And the distance between the two of them, it could be 3 root 5. So what this question is asking you to do is to find the equation of that line and to find the equation of that line. So again, I'll get you to try that on your own, and I will put up the solution to that on Google Classroom. Okay, so the next thing then to do is, that is the perpendicular distance from a point to a line. The next thing we want to look at is the angle of inclination. Okay, the angle of inclination. So that is once again just another formula. All right, so here's how the question could come up. It could say, find the angle between these two lines. Find the angle between these two lines. So the first thing that I will do is we'll just draw the two lines. So maybe one line looks like that and the other line looks like that. So maybe this one here is 2x plus y minus 6 is equal to 0. And this line here is 3x minus 2y plus 2 is equal to 0. So what they are looking for is the angle between these two lines. And once again, to do this, there is yet again just another formula. And once again, this formula here is in the log tables. So we just need to fill in this formula here. The formula is tan theta is equal to plus or minus m1 plus m2. These are the slopes. So m1 would be the slope of one of the lines, and m2 would be the slope of the other line, and then 1 plus m1 multiplied by m2. So we just need to fill in this formula here, and that will give us our angle. So it will be tan theta is equal to plus or minus. Okay, so we need to find now the slopes of these two lines. And if you remember in class, we were looking at a quick way of finding the slope. So this is the equation here, and it's in the form ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. And if you remember, I told you that a quick way of finding the slope is minus a all over b. So the slope for this line here would actually be minus 2 all over 1. Minus 2 all over b is 1, and that really will just give us a slope of minus 2. So the slope of this line is minus 2. So if we go back down to our formula, I know the slope of the first line there is going to be minus 2 plus, and now I want to put in the slope of the second line, but if we use the same method, the slope of the second line will need to be minus 3 all over minus 2, and which is really just 3 over 2. So the slope of the second line here is 3 over 2. And then to follow the formula, so it's m1 plus m2, I have that, all over 1 plus, and then the two slopes multiplied by each other. So that would be minus 2 multiplied by 3 over 2. Okay, so that will give us that. So then if we continue on here, we have tan theta is equal to plus or minus. This is going to go to, if we put all that into the calculator, right, that will just basically all go to 7 over 4. So then we can do tan theta is equal to plus 7 over 4. We can do that first. That will give us, and then we know then to find theta, we do tan inverse of 7 over 4. And that will give us an angle, if we put that into the calculator, of 60.25 degrees. So one of our answers is 60.25 degrees. So this one here is, so that's the acute angle. So that answer there is 60.25 degrees. But if you look down here, it was plus or minus, so we should have two answers. And we only took the plus option, and we got 60.25 degrees. The other angle, if we look up here, it becomes clear. The other angle is obviously the obtuse angle that's all the way around here. This one here, sorry, it is this angle. So they could be looking for this angle. And to get that angle then, it would just be very simple. We would just do 180 minus this angle that we already know, which is 60.25. And that gives us an answer of 119.75 degrees. So that gives us the other angle there, which is 119.75 degrees there. So that is how you find the acute angle between two different lines. All right, you will be given the equations of the two lines. You need to find the slopes, and then you are ready just to put everything into the formula, and it gives you out. And just remember, then you will have two answers. So that is that one there done. So that's the end of the first video. So just to recap here, we did the last two parts of coordinate geometry of the line. We did the perpendicular distance from a point to a line, which is once again just a formula, and the angle of inclination, which is once again just a formula. Just don't forget that I did give you a question to do. So again, this is the question. Okay, I'll put it up on Google Classroom. All right, find the equation of the two lines that are parallel to the line x minus 2y is equal to 5 and a distance of 3 root 5 from it. So I just gave you a hand there by drawing a diagram. Okay, I want you to try that question yourself. Okay, and then I will put up the solution later on Google Classroom as well.